There it is. Hey, internet friends, this is me, Bradley G, and welcome to Synergy Cafe. Guess what we're going to talk about today? It's going to be talking about real estate. And I've got a guest on. I'm going to ask her some very pressing questions that she might not have the answer to. They call that the hot seat. No, she'll know what's going on. So, real estate's an interesting industry to me because ever since we walked out of the cave as cavemen and women, when it rained, we had to walk back in. So, we all need shelter. And real estate's a wide variety of everything from shopping malls to houses to cabins to there's a lot of stuff in real estate. So I'm going to go to the green room and go get my friend. Her name is Darci. The last name is Smythe or Smith. So hang tight. I'll be right back. There she is, Darci Smith. How you doing?
Hello, I'm good. Thanks for having me. I'm
It's
doing
not
great.
Smythe, is it? Smythe is with a Y. It's
Yeah,
Smith
it's
with an
Smith.
I.
It's just regular old Smith.
Yes. I remember back when the yellow pages were there and you looked up Smiths and there was a lot of Smiths.
Yeah, and my dad's name was Bill. He was one of like 100 even in our small town. Maybe that's an
And his
exaggeration,
brother's
but
name was Bob or something, right?
yeah.
Yes. Very cool. So we're going to talk about real estate. How long you been involved with real estate?
I have only been doing real estate for about 2 years.
Cool.
Um, Long enough to know enough to be dangerous, and I guess not long enough to think that I know everything either.
My wife works with some real estate agencies to keep their team in place and so they all know how to
Mhm.
communicate with each other. And we were
Yeah.
talking about how real estate, people when they first see it, they think, oh my God, it'd be so fun, go out to those big $1 million homes on Lake Minnetonka and oh, it would be so fun to
Yeah, it would.
pick out the grapes. But there's a lot more work to it than that a lot of people
Yeah.
don't realize. And
Yeah, I always say that it's kind of like it's the duck analogy, right? Like I try to look like the calm duck that's just cruising along at the top of the surface of the water, but underneath you have no idea how fast my feet are moving. So, yeah,
I
it is
never really
it's
thought about that analogy, but I
yeah,
totally get that
yeah,
because
you gotta hustle.
there's a lot of stuff that's behind the scenes that you're doing for
Mhm.
your clients and prospective clients,
Yeah,
because even after you sold the house, if
it doesn't
something
stop
goes
there.
wrong, they're going to call you and go, hey, Darci, yeah, we'll fix that.
Yeah.
You gotta take
Well,
care of it.
I really do consider myself a resource for life, not just for
Yeah.
the life of your home buying, but for your life. Like, I have a lot of connections with vendors, people that provide services. So, I you can't get rid of me that easy.
Mhm.
I'm around to help even after the closing.
Well, that's what it is, and especially in real estate, because real estate is an agency. You go to these networking events, and everybody goes, "I'm in real estate. Here's my card. If you ever know anybody," and
Yeah.
people like me get tons of those, and it's like,
Yeah.
who do I pick? Who do I prioritize?
Right.
And it's
Right.
really about the relationship and how well a person. Like, there's a guy that I knew. I think he was with the Keller Williams group,
Hmm.
and he lived over in Wayzata area. But what
Okay.
he did was he said, once we sell your house, you guys are having a party. You're going to have a housewarming party. You're going to invite anybody you want. I'm paying for all of it.
Oh, that's really
We're having a
cool.
big party. And then when I'm done, I'm paying for someone to come in and clean your house up so nobody knew you had a party. And that's what was his thing, is I'm taking care of you.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's what it takes. Yeah.
It does. That is what it takes. I'm also in my business mind. I'm like, how did he make money after all was said and done? But I mean, that's really generous. There's all kinds of different ways that realtors can provide value and support and make you want to come back because that's really what it boils down to. It's all about the repeat business
Yeah.
and the loyalty and the referrals. So if you don't have that, then you don't really have a stable business.
Well, it's good you understand that because some people think
Mhm.
once you sell the house, yay, I got my commission. Now I can go on to the next one.
Yeah, no,
And
it can't be that. Otherwise, you're just going to be on, we call it the real estate roller coaster forever,
yeah.
where, you get caught up in the transaction that you're in. And then once that's over, now you're going to find your next business. And so it's like your business. I mean, if sorry, if anybody's listening that's thinking about going into real estate, it's really about making sure that you are constantly looking for the next business, even while you're in a transaction, and that you're also maintaining those relationships and
Mhm.
building that connection so that eventually you're not having to work so hard, right? You see the people on
Yeah.
TV that go into those $1,000,000 houses. Those are people that have worked really hard to build those relationships and build that clientele to get to that point. I still haven't stepped into a house on Lake Minnetonka, and I'm 2
Mhm.
years in.
Yeah, I think a good realtor needs to be in the past, present, and future all at the
Mhm.
same time. You gotta be kinda looking
Yep.
ahead and looking behind and taking care of it. You know,
Yep.
it's like you see a client or something, a past client that, maybe hasn't talked to you for years, and they've got a flat tire, you
Mhm.
pull over and help them
100%.
because like, our first house in Golden Valley, do you know Wes Hamilton, perchance?
Um, is that a street, like a specific street
Nope,
or
nope, it's a guy's name.
Oh,
Wes.
oh, no, I
His name
do
is
not know West
Wes
Hamilton.
Hamilton.
Sorry.
See, there you go, real estate is on that street. But when we decided to buy a house, he was our go-to guy because we
Yeah.
knew him through more. We used to do a lot of things at like these the holistic expos and spiritual expos and stuff. And he was also did numerology.
Mhm.
So
I
we knew
love that.
him through that, and we knew that he was a real estate agent too.
Yeah.
So because of the relationship, that's why we connected with him,
Yep.
and we did the woo-woo stuff with numerology and dowsing and all that stuff to find our house and everything. Get
I
that
love
kind of
that stuff.
the feng
I
shui and
absolutely
all
love
that
that
stuff.
stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot about feng shui. I've learned um a lot about numerology, to your point, like when you add up the numbers and then get it down to that single digit, and what does that say about the house? Are you looking for abundance? Are you looking for comfort? Are you looking for longevity, relationship? And the numbers can do that. That
And does
stuff's
it
so
align
fun.
with the buyer
Yeah.
and the seller?
Exactly, like you as the buyer, what are you looking for in your home, and
Mhm.
how do we align those numbers and see those signs? And then
Well,
also,
remember
how do I, as
also
a realtor, keep your best interests at heart, not letting you get blinded by, "Oh, I think this is a sign," but then are you buying something because of that that maybe is gonna come with some headaches down the road, and how do I protect you?
yeah, you're looking out for the buyer and the seller in that, like when you're driving around, you see, oh God, they pull up and this isn't what I thought it was. This ain't going to work for you guys. Let's go. We don't even go in the house. We had a couple situations like that
I've
where
had
we
that
just pulled
happen.
up and said, this isn't it.
Uh-huh.
And you just spent a couple
It does
hours
happen.
driving to and from, and
Yeah,
so I commend you.
yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, it's so fun. That's part of what I love about it. Like, I especially love working with buyers because you get to have those experiences together, and I think that buying a home is so important, right? It's probably one of the biggest decisions and most important decisions and most personal decisions that a person makes in their life, right there
Yeah.
with, getting married and having children. And not only is it a big deal emotionally, but it's also a big deal financially. For most people, it's the biggest check they ever write.
Well, and you're locked
And
in. You don't get to have buyer's remorse. It's like
yeah, no, once you get through that inspection,
you're here.
it's pretty much done. Yeah. So it's so important, it's so big. And so I think it's really something special to get to be a part of it. You get to know people on a way different level than most people ever get to know them when you're looking at
Mhm.
houses together every weekend.
Yeah.
And, you get to be an advocate and a guide and an educator through that whole process and help them find home, which is, to me, home is everything.
Do you prefer to work more with, buyers or sellers?
I love working with both. But because I am like that emotionally driven and connections driven person, I love working with buyers just because with sellers, you don't spend that much time together.
That's true. And once what if they sell and they're moving to Albuquerque or something? You never see
Yeah,
them again.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a client right
Okay.
now that relocated to California, and I'm helping him sell his house. And I mean, I'm happy to do it, and I'm good at it, and I obviously it's part of my business, but my
Mhm.
favorite place is buyers because now I just communicate with him via text and phone for the most part, and once we sell the
How about
house.
first time buyers versus people that have moved a couple times? Which do you
I
prefer?
like both. I really love first time home buyers because I love being an educator. Um, I like second time home buyers too, I would say. I mean, I'm happy to work with anybody,
Mhm.
obviously,
Sure.
but I really love being that educator. One of my favorite transactions was a couple that were looking to move up. They're growing their family, they need a little more space. They wanted to change areas of town to be closer to family. And we explored all the different venues that they were interested in, such as new builds, existing builds, um, new build developments versus buying land and building somewhere. And it was such a fun experience. One, I got to learn a lot. So, like,
Mhm.
now I know a lot about the building process and what that looks like. I work with a custom builder, but not as closely as like actually being in the weeds with it. So I got to get in the weeds. Um, I got to spend a ton of time with them, get to know them, get to know their family, get to know their little girl and their dog. And then through that, we were able to also really talk about the preparation for selling their existing house and get them really ready for that. And so I really enjoyed that transaction because I got to support them better as sellers because I spent so much time with them on the buy side and gotten to know them
Got
so
it.
well.
The reason I ask sometimes as far as what you prefer is my marketing hat is on because
Yeah,
finding specifics because like I go to some of these networking events and there's so many different people from all walks of life there and all different businesses and where's the
sure.
alignment? Where my background
Yeah,
with the event industry was you got someone that supplies event planners and there's the planner and there's a direct connection.
yeah.
So getting it specific, like I'll tell you a quick little story. It's not real estate related, but it's photography related. There
Mhm.
was a friend of mine did all sorts of photography, did the glamour photography and the weddings and the seniors and the pets, and he did a lot of stuff. And he kept on getting beat down like the weddings. All of a sudden, wedding photographers are everywhere, and then all of a sudden he was doing the glamour shots, and all of a sudden
Oh,
glamour shots, the franchise comes in.
yeah.
So what he decided to do, because he likes the Hmong community,
Okay.
he decided to do Hmong weddings.
Yeah,
That was his thing, Hmong
yeah.
weddings.
Yep.
Yes, he would take the Hmong pets and take a picture of the boat and go out and do some landscape and nature or family portraiture, but he was known as the Hmong wedding photographer. So within that giant community, if anybody says, "Hey, we're getting married," you know a photographer? Alan Forrest.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it definitely is wise to niche down into
Yeah.
where you
And some
want to
people are
be.
afraid to do that because they feel they're missing out on all this other stuff. But the other
Yeah.
stuff comes in naturally when you know exactly what you
Mhm.
focus on. And that's why I
Yeah.
was asking.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to like define an avatar of who my client is,
Mhm,
I mean, you have to be really careful because certainly I love working with everyone of all walks of life,
mhm,
like, but I seem to be more connected to the young professional.
sure.
Somebody who is, just getting started with life, maybe just graduated college and is starting to think about buying their first house. Sometimes it's a younger professional growing family that's looking at like upgrading from their current first house to their second home. But that's really where I live is with the young professionals that
Speaking
are
of
just
that,
getting their lives built.
I've kind of heard some things about like home buying is becoming not so much. People are thinking, I'm just
Mhm.
going to get apartments and move like a
Yeah.
nomad. I think that,
Tells
okay,
me.
that's a thing when you got a young mindset.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to be said for establishing that equity and having a home base. When
Yeah.
you're like if you're doing this digital marketing thing and you're traveling around the world. So where do you live?
Hmm.
Well, right now I'm in Bangkok, and next week I'm moving over to Bali, and I think we're going to be going down
Yeah.
to Puerto Rico in a couple of
That
years.
sounds wonderful. I
Sure, but
want to know
nobody
where
knows
this
where you
person's at.
are until you put a stake in the ground. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's good to even, if you're making money, buy a house, establish the what do they call that, homesteading or whatever,
Hmm. Yep.
so that they
Yeah,
know
you
it's
can
there.
you can
And
homestead. It's a tax status, but it
yeah,
saves you on taxes. It also protects you in the case of bankruptcy or a liability case.
see, you know stuff.
Yeah, I do know
That's
stuff.
important. So that younger generation, they need to realize that maybe it is good to buy just a small piece of maybe it's more property with a
Yeah.
small house, but
Yeah.
at least you
I
got a
mean,
stake in the ground.
I love that you're asking this question because one of my bigger passions is wealth building, and that's why I'm more attracted to that young professional
Mhm.
community because I know that the average first time home buyer is 38 years old today. And I also know that homeowners hold 40% more wealth than non-homeowners. And if you're thinking about starting your life and starting a family and building something, the first step to building wealth and building stability in your life is homeownership. And it's not as hard as a lot of people think it is. I'm not going to lie, like it comes with a lot of responsibility. There's
Sure
always
it
going to
is.
be projects, there's always going to be maintenance, and at the same time, even if those things cost you money, you're at least building equity in your home. You
Mhm.
are not just throwing away your money to the landlord gods every single month where you're never going to see another penny of it.
Exactly.
And so it hurts my heart when I meet people that think that they can't buy a house or they shouldn't buy a house. And sometimes that's true. Sometimes it's just really not the right time for them. And there's nothing we can do about that. But a lot of times it's not as hard as people think it is.
Definitely, there's creative ways of making it happen. Like a good example is the house that I'm in now. I'm back in my hometown of Fridley, where I grew up,
I love
and
Fridley.
being self-employed, it's tough to get that loan.
Yeah.
So I had some money saved up, fortunately, and then I took on a job with Amazon, driving those vans,
So you could have a
and
W-2 to show.
so I could have something to show.
Yeah.
And that was I've never had a job really other than that. I did that just to get the credit or whatever. And
Hmm.
then when they didn't even use it,
That's funny.
I know it's not.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely something to be said. Self-employment is a whole different venue when it comes to securing the lending, and that would probably be a better interview for a lender maybe because I'm like, I don't really know 100%, but I do know that you have to have 2 years of self-employment history and steady income in order to qualify. Whereas if you have a W-2 full-time job, if you can just kind of show a history of staying employed, essentially.
Staying employed or staying generating income.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have people who are, relocating and they've just changed jobs, and you think, "Oh my gosh, I have to be in the same job for 2 years." Well, turns out they just need an offer letter to show that they have a job secured and that they don't have a significant break in their income timeline, if that's the
Let,
right word.
let me ask you this. This is just popped in, and it's one of those unorthodox questions that I like to ask.
Mhm. Love them.
Is if I can remember what it was. What if somebody they didn't have the cash themselves and they
Mhm,
didn't want to do the loan through a traditional bank
mhm.
and they had access to the money? Is that something you can work with?
Access to what money?
Access to the money that they need to buy the house. Like say for
So,
example, a hard money lender or something, or maybe they got a friend that's making a bunch of money with Bitcoin. He says,
ah,
"Yeah, I'll loan you the money. Let's just make it happen. We'll write up an agreement and
mhm.
get you a house."
It has to be a gift. It can't be a loan.
That's just it. It could be.
Yeah. Well, then you wouldn't go through if it is a loan, then you wouldn't go through a lender,
Mhm.
right? So, I mean, it
If
just
it is
kind
a
of
gift.
like if someone's saying, "I wanna help you buy a house, I wanna loan you the money," then you would essentially set it up probably as a contract for deed. I
Mhm.
mean, I think you almost wouldn't even need a realtor other than to help with the buy side, but, like, that piece of it, I would probably look at a real estate attorney.
But that's kind of why you need a realtor, and I'm just advocating for you.
Yeah.
It's good to have somebody that knows what the f they're doing,
Yeah, and
so
I
that
would
you
I would
don't
say
sign the wrong thing.
I would say I can help you find the house,
Yeah.
but first let's make sure that you're protected legally because you got to make sure you have the right name on the house. You got to make sure that you have a true legally binding agreement in place with how this money is being handled. Is it a gift? Is it a loan? What does that look like? And so I would refer them. I have a couple of real estate attorneys that I have a relationship with.
Mhm.
Um, and depending on who would be the better fit, I'd probably refer them to that to take care of the money piece of it and the legalities. And then I would take over with finding the right house and getting that process going.
See, that's kind of what I mean is if you get creative, like my background is magical entertainment, as
Hmm.
you kind of know,
Hmm.
that because it's magic, you can do anything. So I have a
Mhm.
real hard time when someone says, you can't do that.
Ah, you can. It's just, you gotta kind of, it took me a second to process what you were asking, but I mean, another piece of my job, it's people, it's connection, it's communication, but it's also problem solving. I would say actually 90% of my job is problem solving because it's no one person is the same as the next. Every buy side is different. Every sell side is different. And so um, I was on the sell side recently of one that he had a newer build home that we were selling, and the basement was still unfinished.
Mhm.
And in that development, we were coming across a lot of feedback saying, at this price point, even with a lower price, we'd really like to have a finished basement. Buyers were looking for a finished basement in this area. And we really thought we could just sell it for a lower price so that people would have room to finish the basement. But something with the buyer psychology in that area, they wanted the finished basement.
Well, that would
So,
be me. This
yeah.
is a beautiful basement. I could see this finished, but how am I going to do that?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
just
It's
want
like
it
where,
done.
if I'm looking at this price point, I'm probably locked into this price point, right? So I'm not thinking in terms of, maybe I could look $30,000 cheaper and then finish the basement, right? So it just wasn't working out. So we decided to pull it from the market and finish the basement. And then we would come back at a higher price point.
Cool.
And literally the day after we pulled it from the market, I got a call from an agent who had shown it the week before, and he was panicking because his buyers had put in an offer, gotten accepted, and then things kind of fell apart. And they were getting ready to put their house on the market. They needed to find a house. We were the backup plan, but we had just pulled it from market. And he's going, "Why'd you pull it from market? What's going on?" And they had turned away from it because they wanted the finished basement. So we were
Yep.
able to work it out that they went ahead and put an offer in while we were off market. We finished the basement during the escrow phase, and then they purchased it with the finished basement. We never went back to market with that house because we just solved the problem for both sides.
There you go. That's the way it works. There's
Mhm.
always a way of making it a win, 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 and win because you're
Yeah.
in the middle there. So it's a win,
Yep.
win, win.
Yeah. It
Well,
was
we've gone
definitely different.
for 22 minutes and 24 seconds so far, and I don't like doing these too long because
Yeah.
they got to be have time to consume.
Yeah.
But is this basically the name of your company right there, Boss and Co Real Estate?
Yeah. So I'm Darcy Smith. I'm part of a team. I'm on Boston Co Real Estate team. It is a women led, women focused group of six of us that sell houses and help with buyers. We all kind of have our different niche, right? We have some younger ones. We have some that we actually have a girl that specializes in professional athletes.
See, there you
Um,
go.
yeah, I'm like, I'd love to get into that, but I just really love like real people. Not that athletes aren't, let's not go down that. But yeah, so there's six of us, differing levels of experience, differing niches, and then we are
Yeah,
part of Keller Williams Select, which is our brokerage. So,
got it.
um, Keller Williams is a franchise, and each brokerage is individually owned and operated. But we're with Keller Williams Select, which is based in Apple Valley. I live in Maple Plain on the west side, and our group of six is kind of spread out all over the metro, so we can help anywhere.
Very cool.
Mhm.
Well, this is wonderful. I'm going to put you into the green room. If you want to stick around, we can have some more conversation and I can
Sure.
explain more about how I put this stuff out there.
Mhm.
But I have some digital hors d'oeuvres in there if you want to partake in some of that. They're all low cal and very healthy for you.
Love it.
You can
Thanks,
help
Brad.
yourself fill your purse.
Sounds good.
So
Thanks,
we'll
Brad.
talk to you later. Appreciate you taking the time. Thank you, Darcy.
Yeah, thanks so much, Brad.
There you have it, Darcy Smith. She's the boss, and she's got some friends that'll help too. Well, thank you for tuning into Synergy Cafe. I appreciate you taking the time. If you want to do an interview, you just rattle my cage and we can play the game. Okay. Peace, love, and happiness. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be good. Be kind. Be nice. Be nice.